The flames of the Middle East are rising again and again. Airstrikes thundered over Iranian skies as the United States, with the direction of President Donald Trump, struck not one but three key nuclear sites inside Iran, marking a historic and perilous turn in the Iran-Israel war. Tehran has vowed revenge. The world watches in anxiety, and oil markets are already beginning to quake under the pressure. The strike heard around the world, and after nearly 10 days of escalating tensions between Israel and Iran, the US entered the conflict with brute force. Under what is being known as Operation Midnight Hammer, that included 7 B-2 Spirit bombers that flew east from their base in Missouri to Iran. The United States confirmed it launched precision strikes on Natanz, Fordo and Isfahan nuclear facility that has been actually not firmly agreed by Iran. It says it cripples Iran's suspected nuclear enrichment infrastructure. President Trump claimed that this was not just a military act but a debt of diplomacy that had gone unpaid for too long. He further said that the future attacks will be greater if not peace is accepted by Iran. And Trump's statement? He said, "It's time for regime change in Iran. We must make Iran great again, free of the clerical mafia, free of the Ayatollah, and free of the darkness they have cast across the region." But here is the question. Is this the strategy or moving towards more chaos? Could Trump make America great again mission successful? Because so far there is no end game, no serious diplomatic initiative in place to contain this firestorm. What about Iran's retaliation and the fractured world? Iran's response is swift and severe in tone. Supreme Leader Khamenei declared that America will pay and Israel will be punished. This was an act of war. Multiple Iranian proxies in Iraq, Syria and Lebanon are already mobilizing. Hezbollah has promised support of blood, while the Houthis in Yemen are reportedly ready to reignite Red Sea tensions. The United Nations Security Council, once a symbol of post-World War II unity, is now fractured and flailing. Is the US isolated in this issue? China and Russia have stood for Iran, condemning the US. The EU is split down the middle. The diplomatic spine of the world order is broken and the cost of inaction is growing. Let's look at the economic quake. Strait of Hormuz is in crosshairs. Here's where it hits home for every global citizen. That is oil. The Strait of Hormuz, the narrow waterway between the Persian Gulf and the Arabian Sea, is now in Iran's crosshairs. Tehran has repeatedly warned it would block the strait through which nearly 20% of global oil passes daily if war escalates. This choke point is the jugular vein of global energy supply. Oil prices have already surged past $110 a barrel, and many are fearing that a prolonged blockade could push prices beyond triggering global inflation, deepening recession fears and sinking fragile economies, especially in Europe and East Asia. And what about India? Fortified but not untouchable. Now, how is India bracing itself? Interestingly, India's vulnerability is limited over the past decade. Delhi has strategically diversified its oil sources, developed strategic petroleum reserves and bolstered alternative maritime routes. Its direct dependency on the Strait Hormuz has significantly reduced. Alternate routes like Suez Canal and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which connects the Red Sea to the Arabian Sea, are operational and actively used by Indian tankers. In short, it is as if India saw this crisis coming and they have planned ahead. But let's not be overconfident. A prolonged war could still disrupt shipping insurance, freight cost and broader economic sentiment, especially in the Red Sea or in the Gulf. In the meantime, India rescues its own in the middle of the chaos, a silver lining, India's swift evacuation of its citizens from Iran has won praise both at home and abroad, as over 3,500 Indians, including students, workers and pilgrims, have been rescued through special flights. Many rescued Muslims were seen thanking the Indian government, saying they never expected such urgent care in a region slipping into war. India did not see our religion. India saw us as citizens. One woman said this in tears at the Delhi airport. Now let's give our ears to Pakistan's diplomatic dance, Peace Prize or puppet strings. Pakistan's Field Marshal Asim Munir is seemingly trying to nominate President Donald Trump for Nobel Peace Prize while dancing dangerously between Washington and Beijing. On the one hand, he praises Trump, calling him the man who prevented World War III, and on the other, he condemns the US strikes on Iran as reckless. Meanwhile, he is trying to please China, who sees Iran as a key pillar of its Belt and Road ambitions in the Middle East. Pakistan, it seems, is playing a dangerous game of musical chairs in a minefield, and if the music stops suddenly, Islamabad could be left standing in the blast zone with neither chair nor allies. As the missiles fly and diplomacy dies, the Middle East finds itself closer to a regional war than at any time in the last 30 years. The echoes of Iraq, Afghanistan and Syria haunted the region. But this time, the stakes are higher because the players and the weapons are more advanced and the global economy more fragile than ever before. The world is watching, not just for a ceasefire, but for leadership, clarity and the path away from the abyss. So far, none of these are in sight. Now we ask our viewers, is this the beginning of the end of diplomacy as we knew it, or will the world's conscience wake up before it is too late? Stay with us for more updates and keep watching The Global Eye.